I said we will have a real cool time tonight. I said we will have a real cool time tonight.
Hello, I'm Cone from Sum 41. This is my show called Cone's Cave right here on Adobe Radio. This is Season 4, Episode 5. And this week, I have an old friend on the show, someone I met and our band met in 2001 at Dexter Holland from the Offspring's house. I'm talking about Joe Escalante, bass player for the Vandals. Joe is on the show. It's a good one tonight. Joe has had quite a life. And by quite a life, I also mean a lot of accomplishments. I'm going to list off some of those right now so you get to know Joe a little bit better. He has a bachelor's degree from UCLA, studying Viking civilization under Professor Jesse Bayek. He went to law school, graduated. He studied in university in Iceland. He started the Vandals in 1980 as the drummer first. He also signed a record deal to Dexter Holland's record label, Nitro. He decided to start his own record label with Warren of the Vandals called Kung Fu Records. He's also a director and a producer, or has been, for a few TV shows. He's a radio host, like me. Just a few things Joe has done in his life. And actually, another important thing, I find this important because NoFX is a huge influence on Sum 41, especially in the early days. Joe showed Fat Mike from NoFX punk rock for the first time. So, in a way, if you love NoFX, Joe Escalante is a man to thank for showing Fat Mike punk rock. And then, obviously, Mike started NoFX with his friends. Joe is an all-around great dude, was very, very nice to us on the 2001 Warped Tour when we were, relatively new band. The Vandals, all those guys. I remember sleeping on their bus a few nights, partying with those guys. Just really nice guys. Happy to have made friends with them so early on in our career. This talk I'm going to show you is about 2 years old. I did this talk with Joe, about 2 years ago, but it's still relevant. And we had gone to see a premiere of a mini docu-series called Punk in LA. This is obviously years back now. And not to give anything away, because we talk a lot about it during this conversation, but Marky Ramone and Johnny Rotten really get into it when they do a panel after they show a little bit of the docuseries, and then they do a panel, and Marky Ramone and Johnny Rotten, amongst Henry Rollins, Duff McKagan, Donita Sparks, were all up there, and Marky Ramone and Johnny Rotten really got into it hard. So I talked to Joe a lot about that during this episode, and the Sex Pistols and Johnny Rotten, and also show you a little clip that I found online. All right, let's just get right to it. I'm going to show you my conversation with Joe Escalante from the Vandals right after this. All right, this is Cone's Cave right here on Adobe Radio. I'm Cone from Sum 41. This is my show. Every Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm here. This week I have Joe Escalante of the legendary punk band, The Vandals. It is a good one. Don't go anywhere. We're going to start the conversation out by talking about playing, as many bands do now. It's a real thing, and it happens all the time. But bands play on cruises. They go on like rock cruises or punk rock cruises. They go out to sea. They play shows every day with fans on the ship. It's become a very popular thing, and that's how Joe and I start our conversation, is by talking about a cruise that they did. Here's my conversation with Joe Escalante from the Vandals.
Sorry about the mix-up. I'm just off of. I've been on a boat for 4 days at sea, and it fried my brain.
Yeah, was that like kind of like a rock cruise?
No, it was a fishing boat with like my friends from junior high.
Okay, I thought because all those, Flogging Molly does boat cruises, so I figured you're on a rock cruise.
We did one. We did the Flogging Molly thing a couple years ago. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think it's going to be terrible because you're trapped on a boat with all these, Punishers?
Yeah.
It's not like that. People leave you alone, and it's kind of fun.
Do they do you get your own quarters, or you kind of like would flog, like would you guys be like next to a fan? Like would your room be right next to?
No, we were right next to the Buzzcocks, which was worse. Nah, just kidding. We were they had a set. What Tim from Rancid said to me was like, he did it kind of like early on, and their rooms were near fans, and that was a problem. But they have all the bands in one area, and so you never see Punishers outside your door or anything. You see Buzzcocks.
That's cool though. Who's like your regular drummer now?
Well, it's always like, hey, Josh, can you make it? And then if he can't, then it's, goes down the line. Brooks, Wackerman.
Yep.
Then it goes to Derek Grant.
Yeah.
And after Derek Grant comes Steve-O.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's that far up the list, huh?
Yeah, he's very high up the list.
Before I have like a list of songs, because I was trying to pick like a Vandals, like, because I normally pick one of my favorite songs from the band, but I was like, I don't even like, I have such a big list of Vandals songs. So before I get to like, we'll maybe go over a couple of them, and because there might be a better story on one than the other.
Right.
Before we do that, I want to talk about, because you were there, and I've said this on my radio show before. I've told the story about the punk show. Remember the release party or the viewing party for the punk documentary where Johnny Rotten and
Yes.
Mark Simone got into a fight? So I've told this story on my show before, but I've never actually had someone on the show that was there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was the best. I'm gonna try to look up exactly who was there and arguing.
I think the panel was like
It's Marky Ramone, right? Is that the guy?
Marky, yeah, Johnny Rotten. I think Henry
Rollins and Duff McKagan.
And then was it the girl from L7, Sparks?
Donita Sparks.
Donita Sparks, yeah.
Was she there?
Yeah, I think she was on the panel.
The panel. Yeah, that's so funny because I just saw her somewhere, and I should have
brought that up.
I should have brought that up because I was just talking to her, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, what am I going to talk to you about?" And I had the greatest thing in the world to talk to her about, and I didn't even think about it.
The funny thing about that, I thought when I was watching that, when that all unfolded, is how uncomfortable Henry Rollins looked. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, he looks like he wants to disappear.
Yeah, like every time they were kind of arguing, you kind of saw Henry make this like squinty face, like he wanted to get off the stage. And I was like, "And you're in Black Flag, like why are you feeling comfortable?"
It's like he can't win, because he's got his own, he's a controversial figure, but he's kind of overcome it, and he's I'd say for the most part beloved in every circle. There used to be a core group of people that didn't like Henry Rollins in the LA scene because they saw him kind of come, and he was a newcomer, and people get really jealous if a newcomer or anyone with success. So he had success. He had to justify it every day of his life.
Yeah.
Why he's successful, and I think he's done a great job with it. And then here he is, face to face with the king of all punk rock, who doesn't give a crap.
Yeah.
Very, very.
Yeah. Obviously everyone was entertained by it, but I was kind of like, I don't know, Johnny. Come on, you got better things. He's just to me, he was just kind of trying to be his old self that he was like when he was a kid. He's also like 60s now.
Yeah, so that's true. But I think the punk rock for Johnny Rotten is it's real.
Yeah,
and he kind of created the attitude, because you have the Ramones there. I think they're the first band playing punk rock, and their attitude is one thing. Then you have Johnny Rotten and the Sex Pistols, and their attitude is tear it all down. And then here we are watching this largely sanitized and polished documentary on punk rock, and like the general attitude is let's all pat ourselves on the back for being such pioneers and part of this movement, and even being cool enough to be invited to this premiere, and we're all here and we're gonna have a discussion about how cool we are and how cool this is and everything. And Johnny Rotten destroys it all. And to me, that's Johnny. I didn't, I wouldn't want to see anything else but Johnny Rotten destroy this whole scene that was created. And congratulations to the filmmakers. They did a good job. But still, this is not a documentary about, Sparks or yacht rock. This is about punk rock. And you invited Johnny Rotten, and Johnny Rotten did Johnny Rotten. And it caught everybody by surprise. And he was already a little on the outs with the normal entertainment industry because he's come out with some controversial political things that aren't that are atypical of the rock and roll world at this stage. But they're very Johnny Rotten. He doesn't go along with anybody, and he does his own thing. And he destroyed this. And then he goes after sacred cows, and he's telling Henry Rollins, your band sucks. Or he's like, he thinks Henry Rollins thinks he's going to patch things up. I know you said some stuff about me, and he said. Then he kind of doubles down on it and on him, and just puts him in his place. It's like a gang fight, and he goes, "Knock you down." And then Marky Ramone he gets in on it. And he goes, "Oh yeah, you're not even a Ramone." It's like, whoa! It's like,
yeah.
The guy didn't deserve it at all, but it's Johnny Rotten.
Yeah.
I've met Johnny Rotten. I wouldn't go near him on a situation like that because, I'd be the guy like hiding somewhere in the corner because he's going to get you.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be, if you want to be, in the line of fire, you got to just stay out of the conversation. But if you want to get in on it, he's going to destroy you. And he destroyed everybody. And then the best is people are yelling and booing and saying, Johnny, get him off the stage. Johnny, he's ruining everything. I'm like, there was a lady next to me from some old punk band that, I respected. The Slits, yeah. The Slits. She's yelling about it. And I go, what are you talking about? This is great. So that was it's like, why would I want to come to Hollywood and watch this thing and watch everybody pat themselves on the back when I can watch Johnny Rotten destroy something that I didn't get to see him destroy anything because they were broken up before I got, figured out what punk rock was. So I'm there watching Johnny Rotten destroy something. I'm enjoying it immensely.
Yeah.
And people are trying to stop it. And I didn't understand that.
Fella next to you, can you tell him? Henry's here. Henry! Hello, Henry. Right. We ain't ever met before.
No, sir.
No, we ain't, have we? Right. You've said silly things, but excellently good things too.
Yes. And you call Black Flag a bunch of suburban rich kids, and we want to tear your ears off.
Yes, I did, but I didn't like the fucking music. It was boring, and bang, 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 bang. It's like when Sex Pistols came to you, you ain't heard anything that fucking good, and you know it. Right? And you could hear every single word clearly. And those words
You want to rebut?
put me in the Houses of Parliament under the Traitors and Treasons Act, right? Which at that time carried a fucking death penalty. So don't talk black flag, pink flag, white flag. Oregon, and neither does this fella. We're telling you the history of what influenced us. And, oh my God,
Marky.
God bless every single
Hi, Marky.
band.
Hey, Marky, you want to go?
How are you?
Got Marky around? Well, I
just want to say that in 1975-74 at CBGB's, and of course in Detroit, that's when punk started. So if it wasn't for that first Ramones album, punk would not have been solidified. And that was in CBGB's, along with Blondie, the Heartbreakers, and before that, the New York Dolls. And then the Ramones went to England and they started their punk scene. And then the rest is history. And I'm not going to argue about anything. Thank God we got the music. And that's the most important thing. Doesn't matter where it comes from, LA, New York, England. This is the best music that was ever out there, and it still is. And I just want to say one thing. It has nothing to do with what was going on over here on the screen. Donald Trump, fuck off. That's it. But I mean, the first Pistols album kicked ass. The first Ramones album kicked ass. The first Blondie album kicked ass. The Heartbreakers kicked ass. The Clash. So there was something.
Why do you think politics matter?
Something for
Is there
everybody.
anything in the Ramones that was remotely political?
No, we were a
Up
fun
until
band.
right
We were a
now.
fun band. We wanted
Really?
people to have
You
fun.
know,
So the thing is
So
that
why are you
there's something
negative
for
or
everybody, and that's what's important.
You know,
there was
really.
every band was different. Every band had something to say and something to offer.
I love my world, right?
That's it.
And the one thing I've always known is, and you've always known this about me, don't fucking trust a politician. And if there's anything
Well, that's what I
worse
just said.
than a
Fuck Trump.
politician, it is a businessman.
Even the Ramones did it. Even the Pistols did it. They did 60s covers of songs, and because they had great hits, they had good stuff then. So we Ramones it up, and we did "Do You Want to Dance?"
Shut up,
Let's
I didn't
Dance,
cover
and that
nothing.
Stepping Stone, Stepping Stone, Stepping Stone,
Don't talk
Stepping
rubbish.
Stone. You did
I
Stepping
did
Stone.
no cover of
Stepping Stone.
Yeah, and turned it upside
Okay,
down.
all right, no, it's
inside
great.
out.
Okay, don't argue with me. I'm not the enemy, okay?
So punk. You weren't even in the fucking band.
Unbelievable.
You're a Johnny come lately.
Yeah, okay. No, you're a Johnny come.
Hey, where'd you get that wig?
Hey, if it wasn't for the fucking Ramones, you'd be nowhere. You'd be fucking doing fish and chips somewhere.
Said the group. Listen, I love the Ramones,
Yeah, you love the Ramones.
but I love
okay.
status quo more.
Good for you. I believe you.
I have a question over
I
here
believe you.
for Danita. I have a question for Danita.
All right.
Yes.
I'll take it.
In the
do you
doc, there was Joan Jett
The
talking
problem
about
with this
Runaway.
agenda is that he's propagating,
I have a question
and
for
he's
Danita.
not even an original Ramone, but he's propagating
I know, but
this idea.
But I did the Blank Generation album with Richard Hell, and you took his image, and all you guys took Richard Hell's image. That's all you did.
The thing.
Yeah, and you're still covering your
You
fucking
took, and
ears.
that's all you fucking did was take Richard Hell's image.
Listening
They did the Blank Generation album, and that's all you did.
All right.
That's all you did.
Well,
And Sid Vicious was the star. That's right. He was the star of the
He
band.
was the
He was the best.
for arsehole
He was
fake
great.
idiots like
He
you.
was great.
Enjoy your
He
drugs.
kicked ass.
Fucking have a happy
He kicked ass.
So to conclude,
And Glenn Matlock wrote all the songs too.
okay.
You know, there you go. Where's Glenn Matlock?
Let's end this Jerry Springer episode for a
Where's
second.
Glenn Matlock? Come on.
What I want to propagate here, so you all completely understand, punk music for me was positive, proof positive that we could change our lives by music, meaning what we said, attack the political systems. This daft cunt.
How come you wait?
Is in the fucking drugs.
Hey, you talk the talk, but you didn't do the walk.
All right.
Just like the MC5.
Take a pause.
Johnny Rotten never did the walk. He just talked. He didn't do the walk. He was down the street protesting like the MC5. Look at you. That's you look like right? Heavy metal fucking
whatever the fuck, okay? Sit the fuck down.
This is so punk rock, ladies and gentlemen. This is fucking punk
You
rock.
want it? You
right
got
here.
it.
Unpolished, unrehearsed, off the fucking rails.
Danita, I wanted to ask you, just in the interest of wrapping up, what gives me the right to be up here? What gives you hope for punk? What punk has been inspiring you?
And this is Cone's Cave. I'm Cone from Sum 41 right here on Adobe Radio. There's a little bit of what I was talking about earlier. That's Marky Ramone going at it with Johnny Rotten, and that's on a panel after the docuseries Punk premiered, and I was there. I'm so happy I was there for that, and so is my guest, Joe Escalante from the Vandals, who is on my show this week. Man, oh man, if you want to see the whole thing, just go on YouTube and type in Johnny Rotten, Marky Ramone, Punk docuseries, and the whole thing. There's a whole thing up there, and the whole thing is amazing. I suggest you go check it out. It's still amazing, years later. All right, let's get back into the conversation I had with fellow bassist Joe Escalante of the Vandals.
Yeah, I'd met Johnny before, and he was super nice to us. Like, he came into our dressing room and introduced himself and chatted with us for a while, and we were like, what the hell are you doing in here? You know, like, I thought that you paid us. And so that was the next
he surprised people probably told him, oh, what do you think of these Sum 41 guys? They're new and they're phony. And then he said, and then he's a pretty smart guy. He's like, you know what? Why? I'm not going to go along with that. You know, these guys are making good songs, and they're just honest kids from Canada, and they're making good music, and they're new and they're young, and we need this. And I got a guy expecting me to say I should hate them and go, these kids, they don't know anything. So he's contrarian, and he wanted to be cool.
Most people shit on the new guy, right? Most people shit on the new band.
Yeah.
We got.
Oh yeah, and those are but this is a guy that's a little above that, and he's intelligent.
Yeah.
I have a story of when I was on the radio with Johnny Rotten, and they told me I was Monday through Friday, morning drive time, rock and roll DJ, hosting of the morning zoo thing. And one of the big deals that happened to our station, it was called Indie 1031. It was about 2007. The station is sponsoring a Sex Pistols reunion show. I think it was to have something to do with a video game that they were going to have a song in, and they hadn't played in, forever. And they're going to play a show at the Roxy in Hollywood. And it's all publicity thing, because there's tens of thousands of people that want to go, and only, like 450 can get into this club. So it's a super hard ticket, super big deal. And Johnny Rotten is going to call in on my show to talk about it. And I'm pretty damn nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, how's this going to go? I just, like you, I think this guy hates me.
Yeah.
Hates everybody. You say one word and it's going to trip him up. And at least when you had him in a private setting, he could relax and be nice. But he's got to be Johnny Rotten if he's calling on my show to be Johnny Rotten. Yeah. So I was very nervous. And then I just figured I'll wing it. And then halfway through, I think I would ask him this question. He's playing at the Roxy. He doesn't really know this probably, but at the Roxy at that time was not the legendary punk club that used to be. It was a place where you would have things like this, publicity concerts, but mostly it was pay to play, where a band would start with, like some kid band or any stupid band, a terrible band, would sign up to play there. And then they would say, okay, if you're going to play here, you have to sell this many tickets.
Wow.
Here's 200 tickets for this band, 200 tickets for this band, 200 tickets for that band, and they go out and sell them. And then that's how they fill up the club on a nightly basis, by bands that are nobody going out and selling tickets so their relatives can come and watch them.
Battle of the bands, basically, right?
Yes. So that's what it is. So they're playing there at the Roxy. Yeah, we're playing at the Roxy. And so I ask him, I go, how many tickets did the club make you sell to be able to play there? And that just like set him off. And he's like, what are you talking about? I go, you know, how many tickets you got to sell? 100? 200? What did they make you do? What's the deal over there? He goes, what are you talking about? And then he starts arguing about it, like telling me, well, they're big. They're bigger than that. And they don't have to do that. And what is wrong with you? You're an idiot. I don't know who you are. We don't do that with the Sex Pistols, blah, blah, blah. And then he hangs up on me. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and then I just going like, well, I think that to me, that's like what I wanted to see Johnny Rotten do. He did. Yeah. And does anyone want to hear me kiss Johnny Rotten's ass on the radio? You know, I'm not. I'm a guy in the Vandals. I'm not a morning zoo host normally. So they don't. I don't think people would want the ass kissing.
Yeah.
So I went the opposite route and just was myself and made a joke about the Roxy. He didn't understand it and he got really mad and he hung up. And then I go, I would have much rather be friends with Johnny Rotten and have him like me. But that's, you know, you're not going to do that on a radio conversation. So I went that route and it was fun. And the station got really mad and I had to have this conversation with them in the station manager's office and say, look, this is Johnny Rotten. I think this was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
He's not going to not play the show. He's never going to like anyone at this station anyway. Yeah. And we have a great little kerfuffle we created.
Was the Sex Pistols like a major influence for you, or was it something like back in the late 70s? Like when the Vandals started, what, like the early 80s or late like 80?
Yeah, it's like 81.
Yeah.
81.
Was like Sex Pistols a thing for you guys, or was it something different?
Well, they were emblematic, and we liked their music and their attitude, and they formed our attitude basically. But as far as the music went, we weren't going to play these they were like slow rock songs that we weren't going to, we didn't emulate them. We were more interested in bands like The Damned, a little more upbeat.
Yeah.
The Damned, the Buzzcocks, the Devo, the Weirdos in Los Angeles, very big influence on us. So we had these other kind of influences, and it wasn't really musically the Sex Pistols, but we all had that album memorized.
Yeah. So like for you, like personally, was there one band that was kind of like, that's my band? Like, for me, when I was 14, I started playing music because of Nirvana. Like I was 14, it was 1994. That was the band. Yeah. Was there anything like that for you?
Yeah, it was Devo. For sure. Devo's the band that changed my life. And I think that our singer Quackenbush would feel the same way. And for Warren, I think it was Wasted Youth. There's a local band called Wasted Youth he liked.
Yeah.
Josh Freese, it was Devo. So I think for 3 out of 4 of us, it was for sure Devo. But very quickly, the cool people in LA were like, Devo sucks. That's a new wave. It's not hard enough,
Yeah.
And then they got popular and they started making, top 40 hits. But the Weirdos, the Dickies.
Oh yeah, Dickies, yeah.
Dickies and the Weirdos, TSOL. I think those are, and the Damned, and the Toy Dolls. These are like the Vandals, the Vandals influences.
The Devo thing makes sense to me, actually, that you're saying it, because you guys always had like kind of comedic lyrics and quirky songs, and so Devo is like that's them, that's Devo, So
yeah, it's art project, and it's outrageous, and there's they have their mythology and their shock value. It's highbrow in a way. It's just on another level philosophically. It's intelligent. So and it's not political. So you were growing up in Orange County. I personally didn't have any political beefs with anything or anybody. life is good in Southern California. I knew what went on in England. I'd been there, and people are stuck in a stratified society where if you're in a lower class, you will stay there your whole life, and your kids will stay there, and their kids, and there's not a lot of hope, and there's a despair that we don't have in California.
Yeah.
So, but we still like the music, and I knew the words, I understood the words of The Clash, and bands like Crass. I got it, but I didn't want to, what I would call Rage Against the Machine it.
Yeah.
They also came from our world, and they adopted that, that gripe and political angst, which to me, that's like appropriating something else that we're not experiencing here in Seal Beach or in Huntington Beach or in Irvine, where I believe they're from. So I like listening to all that, even like listening to Rage Against the Machine, but I don't identify with that. But you can identify with Devo,
yeah,
and the Dickies, and the Weirdos, and even TSOL. Yeah. Although they dabbled in politics, I just thought it's more authentic to be who you are.
Yeah,
and I'm a privileged kid in Southern California who's a little bit bored and likes to shock people.
Yeah,
and hates hippies. And these hippies with their, their Led Zeppelin and their Van Halen and their Sammy Hagar, they didn't like me. I didn't like them. I love punk rock was a vehicle to antagonize them, and they hated me for it. And you got attacked on a regular basis, physically. Called names all day long, every day at school. You're not getting any chicks.
Yeah.
So it was a little chaotic, way to spend your youth. But to me, it was more authentic just to be goofballs and be Devo and be like the Dickies and all that stuff, and not dabble in the politics.
Yeah, it seems like the Southern California stuff back in the 80s and even 70s and I guess into the 90s was like more fun.
Yeah.
More about like you said, like
Amoeba. That's a hit song from the Adolescents.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And those guys actually, they come from a different part of Orange County. They did have it rougher than I did and my friends did. But they are even still with them. They're amoeba. Yeah. Kids of the black hole. We're getting drunk.
Yeah.
TSOL is dancing with dead people, having sex with dead people. But they got into a lot of like straight up Marxist politics, which I thought in their world, they were also in a little more of a different world than I was. They were they came from a rougher neighborhood. Yeah. So I go, okay, if that's what you guys are into, fine. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Let's touch on some of your songs that I have on my list that are all fun, I think.
It'd be funny if they were all political and so on.
Yeah, no. Let's do Anarchy Burger. Hold the government.
Anarchy Burger is an example of a song that just like everybody was talking about anarchy this, anarchy that. And then when you finally figure out what the word meant, and you go, anarchy, okay, now it's just, we're all using it to describe like you were on tour and you were with this girl and she was undesirable looking. Dude, that's anarchy. You really did that? I'm anarchy, whatever. That's the kind of way we were using that word, but everybody was using it too. It was so overused that one day I just was with Jay Bentley from Bad Religion, and we were stopped off at a Stuckey's, which one of these roadside things in Arizona. And we were ordering food, and I go, I'll have an anarchy burger, hold the government. And I just said it to the lady. And it got such a laugh out of Jay Bentley. I go, okay, I think I can make a song out of that.
Let's do well, my favorite two records from you guys is Live Fast Diarrhea and Hitler Bad, Vandals Good. Didn't Jerry Finn worked on that one, right?
Yeah, he produced the
he just engineered or he produced it?
I think he produced the Hitler Bad, Vandals Good.
Okay.
Or mixed it or something. He was there every day. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think he produced that.
Yeah, he's the guy that showed us, you guys.
Right.
Yeah, like and then we came to Dexter's house that one time when we were working. We met you for the first time. I
recognized you.
What's that?
I recognized you. I didn't know he was working with you. And I walk up and I go, that's Sum 41. I go, Sum 41. Yeah. Because I had watched your video that Stormy Agent sent. So I watched your video where you're dancing in the mall or whatever, all this stuff. But you had a dance. I remember that. I go, these guys have a dance. And I just totally recognized you, and it made sense. I go, oh, Jerry Finn's with these guys, no problem. I get it.
Yeah. So I mean, I think like our whole band after that, like he showed us the record for the first time, we all were like we fell in love with the Vandals from that. I mean, Steve and Dave, they were all wearing shirts, and you guys were like, for some reason, I don't even know why, when we did the first Warped Tour together, you guys were cool to us. We always were surprised, we were expecting to go on the Warped Tour. We had Fat Lip on the radio, Rancid was on it, and we were like, these guys are gonna hate us. And you guys were really nice to us, and actually so was Rancid. But you guys were kind of just like, whatever. There was never any weirdness. You guys even opened for us at a few shows later on.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the Vandals, you got to, one day Offspring's opening for you, the next day you're opening for them.
Yeah.
The bigger these bands get, the more chance we are to play really cool shows and ride around in their private jets.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be nice to the opening band because they might have a private jet someday.
Let's do a couple from Hitler Bad, Vandals Good. I don't know. Let's do. I've got an ape drape. Because you wrote that one.
Yeah.
Give a damn 'cause I am what I am, even if it's really, really bad. I've got an ape drape, yes I do. They're giving them to anyone, that means you. You can drive to Riverside and get one too, and then you'll have an ape drape like I do. Go ahead.
That one is, I was just newly married, fixing my hair in the bathroom. And I hadn't had a cut in a long time. And I was just singing that song to myself. And I was like, what? I've got an ape drape. Yes, I do. I just started singing it to myself in the mirror. And then I fleshed it out. And that one was, most of these songs I need Warren to help me finish, and make better. That one was just natural. And a lot of it, I think, is because it's just part of it. When you break it down, there's parts in it that are like Davy Crockett song.
Yeah.
Like, born in the mountains on Tennessee, green is state in the land of the free, killed them an Injun when he was only 3. Do, 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 do. So it's kind of like that.
Sounds like a nursery rhyme.
Yeah, it just kind of came out of that. And then there was, then at the end, when we were singing, and it sounds like, because I have an ape drape. Yes, I do. To me, it's just like oompa loompa doopity doo. It's just it's like a bunch of nursery rhymes strung together. Yeah. Sometimes those songs work.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, that's.
And the word mullet was not a word at that time. Really? Yeah, we had never heard the word mullet.
Oh, I think that might have been more of a Canadian thing.
I think it was.
Hockey, you guys mentioned hockey hair and the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, we called it hockey hair. We didn't know. And so after it's recorded and done, and then we realized mullet is the real word for that haircut, and we didn't even have it in the song. So, that for better or worse.
Interesting. Let's do People That Are Going to Hell. I know Warren wrote that one, I think, but do you remember that? Do you remember where that came from?
Yeah, Warren, it's just one of those things. I think that's one of the ones, the early songs that's a really good song, and it's one of the early ones that he writes. And then he gets tapped out towards the end of the song, and then he comes to Dave and me and say, "I'm tapped out. I need some song." But the interesting thing about that song is it's really based on, and I probably subconsciously, Pachelbel's Canon. Pachelbel's Canon is a song by the German Baroque composer Johann Pachelbel. Yeah, it's just one of those. A Baroque melodic ditty in D major. But I don't think Warren consciously thought of that. But the structure, I think one of the reasons why it works and it's such a good song is because it has a traditional, its influences are traditional and catchy.
Yeah.
And like that song, Pachelbel's Canon was on a commercial for a rehab center when I was a little kid. And I don't know if maybe that burned into Warren's head or whatever. It's something that's burned into musicians' heads. And but it's an original song. It's not.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's probably one of my favorites by you guys. And
I think it's a classic that we should always play every set. We should always play it because it's this classic, 1996 pop punk. It's to me, it's as it's as good as we can do. That's the best we have to offer is people going to hell because it has a really good, dark, positive message. People who stab people are going to hell. And we don't know a lot about it, the secrets of life and the meaning of life, but we can safely say people who stab people are going to hell. And so it's simple. Everybody can relate to it.
Yeah.
And,
I agree.
We can all agree on that. Even Johnny Rotten and Mark Ramone and Henry Rollins and Donita Sparks and Duff McKagan can all agree that people who stab other people with a knife are going to hell.
1, 2, 3. Some people are bad and they don't give a damn what they do or who they hurt. They go through their lives and don't apologize for the shit that they've disturbed. They don't bother me at all, 'cause I know quite well when the lives are over and they've done what they've done, then the people that are going to hell.
Let's do one more, quickly. You choose, change my pants or And Now We Dance.
I Changed My Pants. Change My Pants is one of those songs that just gets written during rehearsal, and it's just it's a mantra for punk people. I don't want to change my pants. You're on tour. You don't want to change your pants. And then you degenerate into all these things of what that may have nothing to do with changing your pants. Every girl, every guy, grab a girl, don't want to change my pants. All you sucker MCs, I don't want to change my pants. Anything that you can throw in there of not changing your pants, throw them in.
I can definitely. I think I'll go 4 weeks with one pair of pants.
Right, and that's a manly thing to do. But also, when the Vandals write a song, we like them to generate into nonsense. Let's see. Don't change your pants. I got a monkey on my back. Don't change your pants. It's Saturday night. I'm feeling all right. Don't change your pants. Yeah. Then the monkey change your pants, gets a little more degenerates. And then it's like, throw your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't change your pants. Oh, you sucker MCs, change your pants. Gambling's for fools. I like to lose. Don't change your pants. I'm born to lose because gambling's for fools. Don't change your pants. And then walking down the street, everyone I meet, don't change your pants, because walking down the street to us is an example of a lyric you should never have in a song. If you've written a song with walking down the street in it, you've done it wrong. And then so we threw it in there at the end to just as a salute to how not to write a song. Hey, this is Joe Escalante from the Vandals. You're listening to Cone's Cave.
Yes, this is Cone's Cave. I'm Cone from Sum 41. Thanks for tuning into my show here on iDoby Radio. I just had Joe Escalante from the Vandals on my show. He is a wealth of knowledge and a guy who's been doing punk rock for so long now. The Vandals are super influential to bands like Blink-182, The Offspring, Sum 41, many, many bands of the pop punk genre and punk rock genre. I really had a great time talking to Joe. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. All right. This is Cone's Cave. I'm Cone from Sum 41. I'm out of time. I'm going to run. I want to thank my guest, Joe Escalante of the Vandals, for coming on my show. And all the members in the Vandals are interesting people. I love running into them. They are still playing all the time as well. I wonder if they're going to be part of that Warped Tour next year. I don't know. Who knows? Because they've done the Warped Tour a lot in their career, so I could see them jumping on, even just for a show or two. That would be cool. All right, thank you, Joe. Thank you to Adobe Radio for having my show Cone's Cave on their station. I'll be back next Monday. Until then, I gotta go.